And in business now, senior economist at the University of Ghana, Dr. Eric Osei-Sibe, has urged government to renegotiate the financial assistance expected from the European Union under the Economic Partnership Agreement Development Program. According to him, the current amount of 6.5 billion euros would do little to boost Ghana's export fortunes.
The EPA Development Program is a key component of the Economic Partnership Agreement. It commits the EU to provide substantial assistance to help develop the trade capacity and trade-related infrastructure of West African countries. 6.5 billion euros in financial assistance has so far been agreed through the EPA's development program for the first 5 years of the EPA implementation, of which 200 million euros is targeted for Ghana. Speaking to Joy Business at an EPA Accompanying Measures Strategy Forum, economist Dr. Osei-Sibe indicated a further increase in financial assistance was necessary to enable successful implementation of the EPA.
For this one, we think that government should re-engage the EU to scale up this amount, because 6.5 billion for the entire 16 ECOWAS countries, for me, looking at the costs, is not enough. We need to really renegotiate to ensure that enough support is given to our exporters.
The forum was aimed at providing the roadmap and strategic framework for utilizing the EPA development program and other resources to ensure that Ghana is fully prepared to maximize the opportunities and meet the challenges of the EPA. Meanwhile, the EU ambassador to Ghana, William Hanna, has expressed the EU's readiness to assist Ghana improve upon its quality standards.
Having high standards is good for everybody. It improves the quality of the goods that are exported, it improves the quality of the goods which remain in the country, and I think everybody benefits. So it's one of the benefits of having an economic partnership agreement is to have high standards both for exporters, importers, for everybody concerned. I think we all benefit from such high standards.
Some vegetable exports from Ghana to the EU have been banned in recent months because they were below standards.
Chief Executive of UT Bank, Prince Kofi Amoaben, fears plans to increase minimum capital requirements for banks could force out some local institutions. Joy Business is learning that the Bank of Ghana is currently looking at two options to increase the capital. Now, sources say the regulator might adopt the outright increase to over 100 million Ghana cedis for every bank. Now, the other option to increase the capital based on the risk undertaken by a particular bank. But Mr. Amoaben says the regulator should tread cautiously with this plan.
If you're a small bank with small capital, there are regulations that limit you to the kind of business you can do. So typically, you can't do more than 25% of your equity. So the Ghana's economy, most of it sits with the SME and small businesses. So you can finance, even a small bank can finance a lot of these SMEs. But even if you want to finance big ticket, you can then go into consolidation with other banks, syndication with other banks, to try and find if that's what you want to do. But the small banks should find their niche and be able to penetrate the system, because then you are more flexible and you can come up with a niche and satisfy the SME and the informal sector. Because the big banks are not interested, because they can get bigger deals, cozy deals to do. So the issue about raising capital, which actually affects the local banks, we have a situation where we have 29 banks or so. That is certainly a lot for such a small economy. But about 18 of them are foreign banks. So if you say you are consolidating the banks or you want them to come together, the 18 will not come together. So you are left with the Ghanaian banks that you want to squeeze. You end up with probably 22 banks, and 18 will be foreign, and 3 or 4 will be Ghanaian banks. Is that what we want? Then the banking sector is not in our hands anymore. So I think this calls for a bigger debate and discussion on it, because consolidation or limited amount of banks or increase the capital means you are squeezing your own indigenous banks out of the system.
So you think that? However, the Bank of Ghana maintains the action is critical due to current developments in the economy. The regulator has also argued that its action has been influenced by frequent requests for waivers by some banks to undertake some transactions. Now, the Association of Ghana Industries has renewed its call for a review of the utility tariff structures to favor industries. Now, President of the AGI, James Asare J, at the AGI's 55th annual general meeting indicated that industry subsidies industry subsidizes residential consumers, which erodes their competitiveness.
The meeting allowed stakeholders largely of the manufacturing sector to deliberate on issues in the business environment. The AGI maintains the power crisis coupled with the high cost of credit remains top of the challenges which have been worsened by the current tariff structure.
We welcome the current attempts by the Honorable Minister of Power, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, who quite recently, in fact, last week invited us to have a serious discussion on the way forward regarding the proposed tariff increases. The PURC has also invited us, and of course they have sent the various requests from the utility companies for our study. We appreciate this attempt to engage industry on the proposed tariff increases and wish to reiterate AGI's disapproval of industry subsidizing residential users of electricity. AGI will be watching all future reviews closely to ensure that the element of cross-subsidy is completely taken out of the electricity pricing mechanism.
The AGI's call is coming after Cabinet's approval of a comprehensive approach to utility tariff and pricing structure to address current demands in the energy sector. Finance Minister Setekwe, however, explains only a reasonable tariff policy will ensure reliable power supply in the country.
The situation where tariffs are fixed below cost will result in subsidy. They will result in deficits, and they will result in crowding of credit because government has to finance those deficits. This does not mean also that both individuals and businesses should take in inefficiency of the state-owned enterprises. What we need is a balance. We need this because the entire gas we've been talking about now is not going to be exported. If our SOEs are not efficient to harness this gas first, produce them through VRA, GNGC, and now the IPPs, and for ECG in particular to be able to recover and pay for the gas, the whole edifice will collapse. I therefore urge for moderation on all sides so that we can work with PURC to arrive at a tariff which makes our energy industries and government efficient, and above all, which will make business efficient.
According to him, the government has used part of the Millennium Challenge Accounts Compact 2 funds to pay off the debt it owed ECG, only an acceptable tariff structure will end the power crisis.
As if for business, George Addo Jr. joins us shortly with sports.